Hello everyone and welcome to another high elo game of Age of Empires. Today ball meets shaft. Gunpowder ball meets arrow shaft, that is, as Overtaken playing as the Portuguese in red takes on DauT playing as the Britons in blue. Now all the players heard their herdables explore their immediate surroundings and try to get their butts up to Feudal Age ASAP. Gobble gobble gobble. Why don't we take a look at the Civ matchup that we are going to be watching today? Now, the Portuguese are a civilization whose economic bonuses allow it to take advantage of its very powerful gunpowder units. To get an early game boost to your economy, Portuguese foragers also generate wood while they collect berries. All Portuguese units cost less gold. All technologies for the Portuguese are researched faster. And once you hit Imperial, you do have access to your unique structure, the Feitoria. This is an economic building that auto-generates all 4 resources, but does take up 20 population space. Now, using all these bonuses and features, the Portuguese can field a pretty impressive gunpowder army, since they do have access to every single non-unique gunpowder unit in the game on both land and sea. Although now that I say the word sea, I'm looking at the minimap, not exactly something I'm expecting to see in this game. Then all of their gunpowder units can be upgraded to fire more accurately at moving targets and to increase the speed of their projectiles, which does strongly benefit their unique unit, the organ gun. This is a gunpowder siege unit that fires 5 or 6 bullets in a small spread, designed to hit multiple targets at once, and does come with a small attack bonus against infantry, skirmishers, and even buildings. Now, pivoting to the north, we're looking at the shaft. DauT playing as the Britons, a civilization built around supporting its ranged units. Briton archery ranges work 10% faster. Their archers, except for skirmishers, get extra free range starting in Castle and Imperial. And if that's not enough range for you, all of their foot archers can be upgraded to get even more range. Now, all of this range is good news for their unique unit, the Longbowman. This is a pretty decent foot archer that comes with a massive 12 tiles of range once it's fully upgraded. Now, Briton Trebs themselves are also some of the most powerful in the game because they can also be upgraded to do blast damage and have 100% accuracy against stationary units. Now, in order to support their military production, Briton town centers do clock in at 50% less wood, and their shepherds work 25% faster, which does allow them to have a small little boost in the early stages of the game when they herd their herdables. You're getting pushed pretty well by DauT so far. Will it go left? It goes left, and immediately Bambi's mom falls to the Briton hunters. Good time for us as both players, sitting at 14 villagers a pop, to look at the map that we're on. Let's zoom out. I feel like there's a lot of intervening forests here between these two bases, which in my opinion, agree, disagree, let me know in the comments below, always inures to the benefit of the ranged units, as long as your opponent can go into a choke point. Now, let's see, or rather, you force your opponent to go into a choke point. Let's take a look at the base for Overtaken. Our Portuguese in red, primary gold, nice and secure to the back, although unknowingly placed on the hill. Is this 4 piles of gold? Is it 5? Is it 7? It looks like, I don't know what it even looks like, but it is 7 patches of gold there. Primary stone very exposed to the front, might even be on the attack path in this big open plain. Forests in a decent location, a few medium-sized ones here in a triangle shape. Additional gold to the left, additional gold to the right, so not a terrible base. Additional stone to the back as well here. So a few extra resources pretty far away from the original settlement, but primary resources pretty close. Forest not terrible. And DauT, oh man, he's already at the 6-minute mark of the game starting to wall this off. Does he expect his opponent to aggress against him? Where the hell did this deer go? Man, they are stubborn. They've got a mind of their own. Not really. They're all kind of programmed the same, but for artistic license, let's go with it. Primary gold for our Briton, also secure to the back. Primary stone also annoyingly in the forward position, and DauT is using it as part of his wall off, which may or may not be good. We'll see which direction Overtaken decides to attack into. If indeed Overtaken is the one who is attacking, DauT is housed, but doesn't really care. He is going up to feudal, as is his opponent. Forests also in a triangle shape, also one in the forward position, so decent in that regard as well. A few extra resources to the back, so both players actually not terrible bases, to be honest. To start off with, you have your primary resources close. Forests do allow for a bit of a wall off, which, by the way, our Portuguese has seen that his Briton counterpart, his opponent, is going for a wall off, has seen the palisade up here, has seen the houses and palisades here, and so immediately begins attacking a house. And now, all of a sudden, not too sure what the hell happened here, but our Briton, he's completely walled in. Howard Hughes, wave of the future, wave of the future. No one's getting in, no one's getting out, unless he decides to delete one of his own palisade walls or maybe even a house. We'll see. You never really know with DauT what you're going to see, what you're going to get. Overtaken hits Feudal Age first, of course, because he trained one less villager than his opponent. Now they are on par at 19 apiece in Feudal Age, and both getting the Lumberjack upgrades, a bit of farming boost to our Briton as well, as Overtaken continues to send more and more units across the map. This is his entire army, by the way, a spearman and a scout. On the other side, we've got DauT, who hasn't yet discovered where his opponent is, has seen a bit of gold, has seen some houses, and now knows exactly where his opponent is. 3 houses mark the spot. Forget the X. It's all about the 3 houses here. Okay. Tinkle, tinkle goes the spearman. Another military unit moving forward from our Portuguese. Curious as to what he intends to accomplish here with all of this light tickling of his opponent. Attacking to the west, attacking to the south, attacking now, I'm assuming, if we can extrapolate from the behavior of this military, he'll probably attack one of these palisades. Oh, he wants to see if there's any kind of weak link or maybe even a potential gap. Maybe expecting this shrub, this rainforest shrub, to be a nothing burger, and so he can pass through it. Nope. Uh-oh, DauT, you got to be careful, otherwise you're going to get trapped in here. Okay. Realizes it, gets the hell out of dodge, and now he's almost, but not really, starting to do a little bit of pokage, proddage, and damage. And there you go. There's your Age of Empires. I always like to point out the elevation always messes. I was going to say F's with, but let's keep it PG-13 today. You know, I'm going to try not to swear. I'm going to try not to go a lot and stutter a lot, as I often do. I was right. He is attacking the palisade up here. Okay. Now he brings 3 entire Feudal Age army units here to the front. We're 12 minutes into the game. One player has walled himself in completely, carving a interestingly shaped chunk of the map for himself. The other player making no attempt to wall off his eastern flank, as completely exposed. Interestingly, both of them using resources as part of their wall off, which means any kind of ranged units, which, by the way, Britons, it goes without saying, ranged units. The Portuguese are also, like the Vikings, their ranged units are not terrible, although, I mean, they're not terrible if you go foot archers. I think we watched a game about 2 weeks ago, where we had Portuguese cav archers in Castle Age absolutely crushing it. But for now, forget your Portuguese cav archers. You got Portuguese scouts. What's on the left? Is it the spearman? Yeah, he's continuing his little journey here, trying to explore. So Overtaken is not exactly getting anything done. What he is doing is forcing DauT to idle villagers in terms of resource gathering, spend stone on wall-offs, and also he's getting a good amount of scouting, seeing that his opponent is walled off and already in Feudal Age has 3 villagers on stone. Now, as Overtaken, what you want to do here is make an educated guess. Is that stone for a tower drop? Is that stone for a castle? And so I'm surprised that he doesn't have that much scouting back at home. I myself, being the paranoid caster that I am, would be worried that DauT is about to tower drop me. Although if by now at the 15-minute mark of the game you haven't seen a tower anywhere on your wood lines or anything like that, it's probably a good guess that he's not. But you never, again, you're playing against DauT. You never know what the hell he's going to do, what kind of rabbit he's going to pull out of his pocket. And so I'm a little bit surprised that our Portuguese in red doesn't have a little bit of scouting back at home. I mean, this is the extent of his vision right now. That being said, maybe he believes that by keeping all the pressure on his opponent, he can, in fact, negate any kind of tower drop. Although 5 villagers on, he sees all of this. This is fantastic scouting for our Portuguese, who is heading up to Castle Age just a few seconds ahead of his opponent off the back of 3 more villagers. And by the way, we're 16 minutes into the game, and there hasn't been a single kill yet. for all of the Portuguese aggression here against this one hapless palisade wall. This one poor bastard. Oh, look at his scout. He thought he could attack the villager there for a second. He got real antsy in the pantsy and then realized, no, I can't. Wait a second. There's this bundle of sticks right in front of me. 3 have become 5. 5 have become 6. There's a lot of quarry miners here as this one spearman sees the berries. More units are going across the map, but oh no, you're not a Vietnamese skirmisher with more HP. You're just a basic 30 HP skirmisher, which means that this jaguar from the high ground, okay, didn't get the attack off. That would have been even more sour if he got the attack off on the high ground, and this is exactly the problem. The double-edged sword of using resources as part of your wall off is that initially it's fantastic because your opponent doesn't have ranged units, doesn't have any ability to get at these villagers. But then later on in the game, wait a second, there's guys that can throw things at you, and out they come at the 18-minute mark of the game, and we've got our first kill. It is DauT, the Briton, who draws first blood with a dead reinforcing skirmisher, but he stayed around. He stuck around a little bit too long. His scout is a little injured. Let's follow along because Overtaken might be able to get a little bit of revenge here. I see on the minimap that our Portuguese is going for 2 town centers. I see on the minimap that our Briton is going for a big fat castle right next to that stone. He's going to get him. Anytime your unit changes direction, even for a split frickin' second, it doesn't matter. He gets gunned down, and there's that castle. Oh my. So at the 20-minute mark of the game, all of a sudden, the kill count has exploded exponentially from 0 to 1. Are we going to get to see longbows? Okay. You know, whenever you watch the Britons, you really want to see longbows. It's everyone's love. Who the hell? You have to be a real psychopath. Sorry, I said I wouldn't swear and then immediately drop the H-bomb. Although, compared to other H-bombs, it's probably not the worst one. But whenever you see Britons, who doesn't want to see longbows? Although, generally, you don't see them as often as you'd like. And when you do see them, you don't really see them in the quantity that you'd like. So, in this case, let's see. We have their presence. Let's hope for a big quantity. Although that being said, we've already got elite skirmishers, 8 of them for our Portuguese, who will now pivot to the north. A second town center, by the way, up for our Briton as well, but might not be in the best of locations here, as it might get lamed. Although I'm not really sure where else he could have placed it, unless he placed it all the way here to the back. So he's going to have to deal with this. He is in Castle Age, which means his foot archers, Psalms skirmishers, do come with extra range, which is why you see even with Bodkin, which normally would add +2 attack and range, for example, as I click the Portuguese unit. That's why this longbow has +3 range instead of +2. And let's see what kind of damage our Portuguese can accomplish here, right? I mean, I say that and immediately, immediately he backs away. Let's see what he can get accomplished. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to understand here what our... my mind is already... Sorry, apologies for the for the dead space there. My mind went to the later stages of the game and to the potential combinations once longbows are out, because DauT is kind of doubling down a little bit on the longbows at the moment. And so our Portuguese, generally, if you have... Let's say we are lucky enough to see a fully upgraded elite longbow with 12 range. I mean, the Portuguese do have a unit that outranges it. They do have the bombard cannon, right? Again, they have every single non-unique gunpowder unit in the frickin' game. And they also have siege engineers, which means it does outrange the longbow. So are we going to potentially see a massive brawl between the longbow and the bombard cannon? Nah, we'll see. The Portuguese, these are, by the way, 2 civilizations that lack hussars. And so the best we're going to see out of both of these players is light cavalry units, which generally you see against the Britons when they go ranged units. Given the ability of the light cav with its extra pure, rather not extra, but good pierce armor and mobility to take on archer units. Oh, and this is just so sour here for DauT. He built this town center. Now it's being completely idled. Longbow's got to get back in here. Yeah, they have to shoo away. You have to keep these guys around, or at least get a siege workshop and get a mangonel out. But that's not where the wood is going. The wood's going for that second, third town set. Oh my goodness, fourth town center. My apologies. So he's got the longbows prowling in the front, saving this town center from being idled, and by skirmisher. Not too sure why the unit with 8 range decided to move 2 tiles into the face of that skirmisher. Now he's gonna have to pivot up here to make sure that this one doesn't get lamed. All of a sudden, DauT has 4 town centers. Our Portuguese has 3. Having got them up, I believe, first, he now has a 9 villager lead and a 1 military lead. Although we'll see how well they do, how well these skirmishers stack against the longbow. I should also point out, although, actually, no, wait a second. Is it Parthian tactics or thumb ring that these civilizations are missing? I think Parthian tactics. I know for 100% the Portuguese does not get Parthian tactics. And I think the Britons don't get Parthian tactics. I do think the Portuguese get thumb ring. Okay, so never mind. I don't think we're gonna get to see cav archers. We are getting to see ballistics out of our 9 elite skirmishers. No ballistics yet for our 22 longbows, but a second castle in a very forward, very decent position here. So DauT has turtled himself in for the first, let's say, 20 to 25 minutes of the game, has gotten his economy up and running. He is housed, unfortunately, at 105. He is down 5 villagers, sorry, but he is now finally ahead in military, and the better military, I should say, even though this is the natural counter unit of the longbow, the extra range. We've seen longbows just absolutely shred skirmishers. It's just one of those weird quirks of Age of Empires where the quicker attack, I mean, right now it's a 2, it could be better. The quicker attack, actually, no, I just literally finished rambling on about how the Britons don't get thumb ring, and then I'd say it could be better. No, the quicker attack, as a skirmisher does attack on a 3-second delay, the longbow on a 2, and the extra range basically mean that the skirmisher is donezo here if it decides to take a fight. The saving grace for it, of course, is that massive amount of pierce armor that it has at 5. But let's see what our Briton decides to do. He's cleaning up the aggression at home, although aggression with a small lowercase a, not exactly the craziest of aggression. We've got 10 kills to 4, 2 of them villagers. Majority of the kills are these longbows here. We're now going to face skirmishers. Might want to back away. DauT is microing on the eastern shores of the map. Doesn't realize that he lost a whole bunch of longbows here. This is open? Okay. Well, there you go. It's open completely. He could have gone in with his longbows. Probably would have died to the town center, but he could have gone in anyway. Their line of sight, if you look at it, is pretty darn amazing. Look at that ridiculous line of sight. If your unit has 12 range, you best believe it better come with some pretty good some pretty good line of sight. Oh, apologies. I think my mouse might have frozen. I recently changed the batteries on the mouse. Sometimes it glitches a little bit, but in any event, as the players disengage at the 31-minute mark of the game, good time for us to take a look at what's going on, because there's oh man, do I find it endlessly entertaining when stuff like this happens. I say disengaged, like 2 ships passing in the night here. Red and blue Bloods and Crips, Montagues and Capulets are finally fighting one another. And this is what I'm talking about. The longbow just, it's a bit of a skewed battle because there's about 5 times more longbows than skirmishers. But longbows just somehow always manage to do quite well against skirmishers, even though technically on paper they really shouldn't. He sees the castle going up. Okay, I really want to take a look at what's going on around the map, because DauT placed an additional town center here. He is now down the same 4 villagers he's been down for the longest while. That being said, Overtaken, who is housed at 135, on the whole, even though DauT has more kills, Overtaken's coming out on top here, and the longer he can keep DauT trading gold units for shitty... Oh, I did it. I swore. I'm so sorry. I wanted to keep this one PG-13 for crappy trash units. The more he'll benefit. Not only is that Portuguese economy able to get roided up with the Feitorias, But if you're literally trading out trash for gold intensive units, and even though the longbow is not exactly the most gold intensive unit, I'm looking at 40 gold here, eventually as the Portuguese, when your units are 20% cheaper when it comes to gold, and you have the Feitoria, and you've been for half an hour trading out trash units for gold units, you're going to be sitting on a pretty good spot. Spearman discovers a bit of a suburban housing project here. Will he move forward and discover the town center? Dum. Stay tuned. He sees the miners. He sees the farmers. Okay, he's definitely gonna... definitely nothing as he walks right by it. Not too sure where he's headed. Skirmishers return. What's going on here to the left? A monk and a villager. Looks like a probably converted villager. If I had to guess, as the mob says, no, we don't want your teachings here, Mr. Monk. Get the hell out. Did the villager get reconverted? He's got that red triangle on top. Where's the monk that's trying to convert him? There he is. Are you going to start trying to convert him anytime soon? Yeah. No! DauT. Greedy, covetous DauT does not want that villager to return home. And yet again, a small band of skirmishers gets caught out by a bigger, hungry shark of an army called the Longbows, and another castle. DauT is going to be approaching death ball level, but there it is. There's siege engineers, there's scale barding armor. Both players are, by the way, in Imperial, a defensive castle to the south. Ooh, this is a good hill to put a Portuguese castle on, by the way. But unfortunately, the wall off is such that he doesn't really have the ability to get there unless he deletes this palisade here. But DauT is tiefing the tertiary gold of his opponent. You know, there's a lot of talk of death balls in Age of Empires. Magyar cav archers, ballista elephants, 1,000,001 different units, classes of units, heavy hitting, men on horses, men on elephants. But man, if there ever was a death ball from the OG game, it is the longbow. And oh, with ballistics, bye-bye monks. But finally, the Portuguese can field a unit that can put a little bit of fear into the longbows, those steady hands that practice every Sunday. The longbow, by law in England, they must practice every Sunday. Now those hands are going to be shaking just a little bit once they see that there are bombards out on the field, and not only bombards, but finally a big, massive army of counter units. But they're moving north. They're moving north, perhaps trying to draw DauT into a move command while the bombards fireballs, missing the first volley. Let's see what they can accomplish here. Red's going to have to engage at some point here. DauT splits his army off into two groups. Not too sure the logic behind that, what the point of that was. Bombards continue their assault of the town center. Where are the bombards to the south? There they are. Uh-oh. But they're undefended, unsupported, and on their own. And even on the high ground, they're not going to be able to last against how many? 19 longbows. But when they land their balls, man, oh man, does it hurt. Yikes. And Overtaken? There's Warwolf, by the way. So Trebs, even though, oh, he's got 5 Trebs. They must be in the forward position. Yeah, they're just waiting for that upgrade to complete. Overtaken is at 200 population, and yet still, he knows he's dealing with a superior unit that, by the way, there's 49 of them heading north, and yet still sends small clumps of army here and there. I'm starting to get worried for our Portuguese with this kind of strategic military play, that he is just sending out small bands. Like, what's the point of 15 skirmishers, 12? You're getting villagers, for sure. But eventually your units are going to die. Although, again, you are trading out trash. So maybe the point of the name of the game is to get villagers. DauT is now down 13, 14. But in exchange, a whole bunch of skirmishers have died. Now, you can do that with skirmishers. Fine. Send 10 of them, 12 of them, 15 of them to die. But don't you dare do that with the bombard cannons. That is not good for them. You do not want to start losing 7, 8, 9 bombard cannons, even though, again, they are 20% cheaper when it comes to gold count. So whatever 80% of 225 is, you can do the math on your own. 175, I guess. And let's see if you haven't witnessed the absolute brutality, the insanity that is the Briton Treb with Warwolf. And 100% accuracy against stationary units, but even worse, blast damage. That's why the ball went nowhere close to the BBC and killed it nonetheless. There's a whole bunch of longbows do die. So let's see that blast damage. What is the radius? Wait a second. Do they have to be unpacked in order to see the blast damage? The area of effect range? What am I missing here? Why are these trebs not showing their... Okay, maybe when they unpack. I did see Warwolf being researched. There's siege engineers, which is going to give his trebs the same range. 10 bombard cannons are being produced here, but only 5 of them are in the forward position. And finally, we've got a big army versus a big army. More trebs will fall as the bombards peel to the left, but as they do so, they get sniped by the incoming band of 49 longbows that are just fresh off the heels of all of their kills up here and elsewhere out on the map. And yet again, Overtaken just keeps throwing away skirmishers. Now, does he care? He's going for light cavalry, which should have 6 pierce armor and a pretty good chance, at least against these longbows. At the very least, keep the longbows in position while the bombards attack them. But no, that was an absolute slaughter of light cavalry units as the... Oh my goodness. These skirmishers must have taken some of those new synthetic drugs I've been reading about. They derp out really hard. What's going on here to the south? A bit of stone thievery. This is why I said this is a good location for a big red castle. By the way, 5, 6 Briton castles, pumping out 17 longbows at a time. Lumber camp, outpost, keeping a watchful, spyful eye on what the hell is happening behind enemy lines as yet again our Portuguese peels off a bunch. Now this, let me know in the comments if what you think. Is this a valid tactic against the Britons? The Britons are not exactly, you know, the Saracens. They're not exactly the Franks. They're not exactly the Malians, the Hindustanis. They don't need a huge amount of gold for their army to power their war machine. Like I said, the longbow is 40 gold. And the treb is a treb. Everyone's got trebs. But what is the point of continually raiding your opponent's economy when that just freeing up more space for military? GL.DauT's had control of the map so long, by the way. His resources are ridiculous. He's got 1,000 gold, 1,500 food, 2,200 wood. He's got more wood than his opponent has everything. Okay, this might be a good fight for our Portuguese as the bombards do get a few of the longbows. But I'm not too sure that raiding your opponent's economy when they're mainly a trash-ish build. Now, it's not a full trash build, but let's say trash adjacent when your main unit, especially if like GL.DauT, you are doubling down on your main unit, costs only 40 gold. And GL.DauT is doing exactly what I think he was supposed to do. The second he loses villagers, he just replaces it with army count. Oh, but this is not great for our Portuguese as more and more of his bombards keep falling. He is going up to 14. Where are these 9 being traded from? Where are these siege workshops? He's only got 2 siege workshops. This is why Overtaken is suffering so much militarily. But uh-oh, wait a second. Wait a second, right as I say that, the longbows, GL.DauT's not paying attention, loses a whole contingent of them for basically nothing for this one unit. That was an epic get there for Overtaken. But I think the fact that he's training so much out of just 2 siege workshops is why he's never really able to get his bombard count up significantly. And more light cavalry, 42 kills, 42 villagers dead at the hands, the hooves, the swords of these light cavalry units. But GL.DauT fires back. Town center falls. His army count is literally at 90. He's at 88 villagers. Might be a good time for him to buy a scratch ticket. He is at 36, 37 more army count than his opponent, but his opponent with more and more light cav. Okay, you've gutted your opponent's economy. You're now attacking more resources to the north, more resources to the north. A treb gets attacked by a villager. Oh my god, 49 minutes into the game, a random Briton villager is attacking a random Portuguese treb that is in the middle of freaking nowhere. I mean, the villager kill count is at 100 to 24. But like I said, I'm interested to know, you know, people's comments and opinions. Am I making things up? When your army isn't gold intensive or resource intensive on the whole, you don't really need resources as much as, again, a more tanky, more powerful civilization. Okay, 2 minutes later, that Treb's still alive. Not too sure what the hell that Treb is doing up there. Looks like more raiding. No, raiding by Mother Nature as a Jaguar springs into action, but with Loom, that villager's in no risk of dying. 43 skirmishers to 96 longbows. DauT has gone up to 96 longbows. That's what happens when you got your Briton economy and you don't need to replace it. He's at 103, going up to 109 army count. Damn you, lumber mill. Oh my goodness. I mean, I personally, I could keep the camera trained on this one villager attacking this one trebuchet for the next 100 years. Oh no, DauT's Hilltop army is getting absolutely smashed by the bombards, but in comes a fresh contingent of 32 longbows. His almost triple digit longbow count has been reduced to 64, and is our Portuguese going to do it? Like I said, the trading of trash units for gold units eventually does come home to roost, and maybe I was a little bit too cavalier about DauT losing 30 or 40 villagers in the last 10 minutes. Oh, but the bombards are starting to fall as well. He's not paying attention. The longbows on the high ground, they are so weak. DauT's army is so weak right now. The Trebs, fiery ball goes up. Oh, down it crashes into nothing. Remember, they've got 100% accuracy against stationary units. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Happy New Year. Oh my goodness. Okay, he decides to place a castle here, expanding room for farming. And for the first time, I think this game, or at least for the first time in a long time, Overtaken has a lot more army than his opponent. I feel like, did the Treb kill its own units? Is there friendly fire on Trebs? I don't know. That kind of felt like that Treb ball killed that unit. Overtaken still with going up to 12 bombard cannons, has placed a bit of a proxy sneaky here to the eastern portion of the map, forcing DauT, whose economy is already weak, to garrison his villagers. And there you go. No more. The history books don't even remember the Treb. It's completely disappeared. But where is our Portuguese go? Where is he going? There's an army right here in front of your base. I mean, do you see it? You see it with the vision of the attacking unit. Oh, but he catches out. Maybe I'm the idiot. He catches out. Bombard's balls. Great bombard balls here. But more and more BBCs are falling. I wish there was a way in Capture Age to see statistics of specific individual units. How many bombards have died? How many longbows have died? How many skirmishers have killed longbows? And DauT replies to the villager massacre by massacring Overtaken's villagers, and now he moves forward. Wait a second. Okay, never mind. There are a few red light cavalry units here. I was gonna say this is gonna be very bad for our Portuguese here if he doesn't get a meat shield up, but he's got enough skirmishers there on the high ground. DauT has more reinforcing longbows. The battlefield, because of ranged units, is just absolutely massive. The maneuvering, the pivoting from both players. Another random Treb doing nothing as more bombard cannons fall, and DauT disengages, retreats into the ether, into the dark fog of war, as his Trebs now begin pummeling the center. I mean, I say begin pummeling the center. Look at the center of our Portuguese base. It has been pummeled to kingdom come. One Treb does fall. Maybe another one will? No, definitely not. DauT's reinforcing light cavalry. Maybe. Yeah, it does fall. Their melee armor does go down from 2 to 1 when they unpack. absolute bedlam. I have to zoom out significantly in order to catch all of the action, but there's a lot of skirmishers here. 70 skirmishers. But our Portuguese has been knocked into a bit of a corner here. Still just a 2 siege workshop, still training more and more bombards. And DauT looks like he's about to overpower this entire army. The trap balls with the blast damage are wreaking havoc. I mean, I say, yeah, there's the area of effect range, 0.5. So I guess they have to unpack in order for us to see it. Where are you, Mr. Sneaky Bombard Cannon? There you are, 2 of them as they get the trebs. 1 last remaining treb for both players. Well, there you go. There you absolutely go. 94 villagers to 96. Both players at the end of the day tearing into one another, ripping each other's economies to shreds. I am incredibly curious to see what their economic numbers look like. I mean, the score is just ridiculous. DauT is ahead like 40% in score. Kill count, he's 530 to 435, so about 100 kills more. But Overtaken, our Portuguese, 123 villager kills to 59. Now that 59 was a lot lower a second ago, right up until DauT started raiding the hell out of the Portuguese settlement, and the Portuguese doesn't get his feitorias up in time. His economy is lackluster, and with 94 villagers and an imminent threat of longbows and not exactly trebs. Where is this last treb? There you go. So DauT's not even bringing his full army to bear. He still has 12 light cav, 12 longbows, and a treb. Although I say 12 light cav, it looks like 3 or 4 or 5 of them are heading over to the battlefield. But wow, I really thought this game would be a lot closer towards the end, and I feel like it was. Right up until the moment Overtaken went a little bit too heavy on the elite skirmishers and not quite as heavy as he should have on the light cav, perhaps, but only 6 stables for him, 9 stables for our Briton. Wow. Well, there you go. We wanted to see the longbows, or at least I wanted to see the longbows. We got to see them. Holy moly, did we get to see them. It's got to be the most trained unit, right? Yeah, 280 longbows, 304 skirmishers. Now, on paper, the skirmishers should do quite well here, but, I mean, with the extra range, I did see yeomen, so 12 freaking range on this unit. PKPM Hera levels for Overtaken right at the end of the game. DauT, a bit more of a relaxed game, peaking literally a minute ago. Okay, so a late bloomer is our Briton. Wood and food economies are ridiculously similar. DauT managed to get 3 relics to 2, so it does have an extra 1,000 gold there. But economies trash going to our Portuguese. This is exactly what I thought would happen. And then a bit more gold, a bit more stone for our Briton. 3 conversions, 11, 31 raisings. Again, that's all down here in the center position of the Portuguese base. But at the end of the day, how many castles did our Briton have? 7 castles at the end, training just 1 longbow. But with 7 castles came map control. He didn't even mine out, by the way, his tertiary gold, which still has enough gold for 30 more longbows. His secondary gold also, I think. Oh my goodness, DauT. Like I said, the Britons are just one of these civilizations that you can operate on a shoestring budget. You don't need, like the Saracens, to have absolute map control and gobble up all of the resources everywhere on the map. I mean, it obviously helps. It helps in any game of Age of Empires, regardless of what civilization you are, but the Britons don't need it. Oh no, the last treb there for the Portuguese is about to fall as well. Ay, ay, ay. Where's the last BBC? Hiding underneath the town center, hoping nobody notices him. But there you go. I wonder if Overtaken, instead of trying to destroy the economy of his opponent, because sometimes it does backfire. The fact that DauT has 90 army supply, or rather had 91 army supply at one point, he was just replacing dead villagers with longbows, light cav. That actually helped him overwhelm the Portuguese. So I wonder if the Portuguese was doing himself a disservice, was actually hurting himself. Like one of those YouTube videos where the guy has nunchucks and he's flailing them. He looks like an expert flailing them, and all of a sudden, wham, hits himself in the nuts and falls and collapses to the floor. I wonder if that's what the Age of Empires equivalent was here for our Portuguese, who did an amazing job raiding the economy. He does get about 70, 65 more villager kills than his opponent. But again, these are not Mamelukes that cost 85 gold. These are not Frankish paladins. These are not Khmer Kamai ballista elephants. These are not Hussite wagons. These are 40 gold units that are cheap AF that your opponent just now massed, and all of a sudden you got 90 army count to 18, which is literally, I believe, 5 times the army count at the end of the game. And not only that, but then I think just the army composition was a tiny bit off. 70 skirmishers were taking on a horde of Briton light cavalry. They couldn't stand it, and DauT with the absolute meme build. I mean, right from the very beginning of the game, he walled himself in, says, "You shall not pass." And for 20 minutes, our Portuguese kept an eye on everything, kept an eye, more importantly, on the stone miners here. Ultimately, though, it wasn't a tower drop. It was a castle placement, and from the castle came the longbows. And man, I love to see longbows. Everyone must love to see longbows. Who's kidding who? Like I said, you have to be a real psychopath not to love to see massed longbows. 46 kills on these guys. No villagers, but 46 military kills. Probably 99% of that is skirmishers. And with those kills and with the meme build and with the securing of his settlement against any kind of Portuguese aggression, withstanding an absolute barrage of dead villagers, withstanding an endless wave of skirmisher after skirmisher after skirmisher, attacking villagers, attacking longbows carved up into groups of 10, 15, 40, doesn't matter. DauT met all of the obstacles head on, overcame with the longbow, and lastly added in the absolute sniper here, the skirmisher sniper, I should say, the light cavalry unit. And with all of that army and with a huge amount of castles placed across the map, lucky number 7 to be exact, it is DauT, our Briton, who is victorious, but GG to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.